Disney Pixar's Inside Out is one of the most sophisticated movies ever made, and it's not a kid's film. It's an animated movie appropriate for all ages, and it just so happens to have a kid as the protagonist, but we can all learn something from it, and you're going to learn something today. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter. I'm a pediatrician. I love watching movies and learning how we can talk about health with ourselves, with our families, and with our children through movies. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to use Pixar's Inside Out as a roadmap for how to talk about mental health with children, as well as what the movie does really well, talking about the very delicate life of pediatric mental health. And that's something I deal with every day, and I'm going to share some insights that I have as a pediatrician, and also as an actor, because there are some really wonderful film-esque things that this movie accomplishes, and it's no wonder that they're making an Inside Out 2. We're going to jump straight into it, and I invite you to join the conversation down below. Let's go. Oh, baby!
And there she was. Hello, Riley.
All right, I'm going to pause it here. Babies, when they're born, it takes them a few minutes to open their eyes, and when they eventually do, they can only see about 8 to 12 inches away from their face, which is why we get really close to them, and then they can start to see you. But in fact, it's still very blurry for them. So this is an accurate portrayal of how babies see. I mean, I don't even know how they were able to tell this, but this is what babies see. But also one thing that they don't exactly get right, and it's okay, they have creative license, but babies actually see in the colors of black, white, and gray when they're first born because the retina is not fully developed yet, and then eventually they can get colors. The music.
And you've met sadness. These are called core memories. Like when she first scored a goal. That was so amazing.
So core memories are what they're using to hint at identities. So she identifies as an athlete. And what identity you have most commonly or use most frequently is your salient identity.
The islands of personality are what make Riley, Riley.
That was a great shot. I'm gonna pause here. Over a very important foreshadowing character. What's really interesting about the different elements that they just showed is that they're showing us the growth of Riley in size, but also in her understanding of the world. That final moment was imaginative play, and that is only achieved as a certain milestone in her development. When babies are born, obviously they don't really move. They are kind of burrito bundles of goodness and gooiness, and then eventually they grow physically and also their mind develops. An easy way to simplify it is you think from a top-down approach. The baby's brain is developing, and so eventually they start opening their eyes and they start looking around and tracking. Then they have control of their neck, and they can start to turn their neck, and they can start to hold their neck up on their own. And once they can start to do that, around 4 months, then your pediatrician might give you the okay to start purees, and then eventually they can use the trunks, and they could sit up, and then eventually they can use their legs, and then they can crawl, and then eventually they can use their feet, and then they can stand. So it's kind of a top-down approach. And I really like to go to parties and guess how old these kids are at parties, because it's kind of like a little neat pediatric trick. The animation, the characterization of each of the emotions. Wow.
And that's it. We love our girl.
I'm gonna pause it
She's
here.
great.
What they're representing here is fascinating. You had your short-term memories from the day getting sent to long-term, and what they're creating now is the constellation in the sky. It's going into the deep processes of the brain to be stored as memories. Actually, if you are sleep deprived and you don't have this ability to go to sleep, or you suffer from insomnia, it's really hard to have that moment of creating memories, and there's memory loss because your body needs that moment of sleep to process through. We're going to get to it later when we talk about nightmares.
Run.
The unprocessing of day's events, but this is just a very beautiful representation. Very simple, yet sophisticated. We can already tell, based on what they're showing us, I don't like to make any assumptions about children and their home life, but based on what they've shown us, she has a pretty safe and secure and mature, loving home. That's what Act 1 wants us to ask, is what could possibly go wrong? How did she get to the end of Act 3 when she had such a great start. And think about kids in your life or in the world who don't have the same kind of loving, safe, supported, healthy environment.
We haven't even started.
Friends and a great house. Things couldn't be better. After all, Riley's 11 now. What could happen?
What could happen? San Francisco.
Hello. The moving van won't be here until Thursday.
You're kidding.
Oh,
I signed the contract.
the van is lost.
Dad, look at the car. Just look behind you.
Could go in sadness. Now when Riley thinks of that moment with Dad, she's gonna feel sad.
Pause. It was a happy memory, but because of the current situation and how life has changed, a happy memory can be reinterpreted.
A core memory! Oh no!
Her identity is changing.
I guess all I really want to say is thank you.
Huh?
You know, through all this confusion, you've stayed... Well, you've stayed our happy girl.
Pause. Red flag from the parents. Unintentionally so. Putting the pressure on Riley to be the family's support system at a time where she should be supported. Those people who are most empathetic in life, they're always feeling for others and don't always check in with themselves to see how they're doing. And Riley is about to embark on an entire journey of hearing this comment and trying to meet that expectation, despite how unhappy the situation naturally is. It's kind of like toxic positivity. Riley's probably going to go into autopilot from joy. She could have said, thanks for being our happy little girl. I want you to know that it's okay to feel sad. How are you feeling? You could go into like the whole meta way to run a clinic visit, but it's really important to have open-ended questions because then it gives people the space to feel their feelings. That's why we have them. And to give you an accurate response.
Well, you can't argue with Mom. Happy it is.
Team happy. Sounds great.
Totally behind you, Joy. Looks like we're going into REM. I've got dream duty, so I'll take care of sending these to...
When you go to sleep, there are different stages to your sleep. REM, rapid eye movement. You can only dream in certain ones. You can process memories in other ones. And if you are someone who doesn't allow yourself to sleep long enough, you don't enter REM. You don't enter these core stages of sleep to allow your cerebral spinal fluid, which is just the fluid around the brain, to kind of wash through the deep layers and remove all the toxins, because your brain is made of neurons, and neurons are just very small cells, and those cells are working all day and they're making crumpled paper as their garbage, and someone has to come by and clean the garbage cans out. But if you don't ever let yourself sleep deep enough, then the custodians can't get deep enough in the brain to clean it out, and that's how you build up toxins in your brain, and that's how you can feel foggy and have mental fog, when really all you really need is a really deep sleep. And we'll get into deep sleep later. Sleep is just one of the most fascinating things ever. We can make an entire video about sleep. We could watch Inception and maybe do a deep dive into it. We don't even know why we sleep. It's just like a thing. Imagine Adam, the very first person who slept. God! The animators for Pixar always challenge themselves with the story as well as with the capacity of the technology that they're using, and they had to develop new technology for the particles flying off of Joy because they had to be natural but a random pattern, and this is brand new technology that they had to use. Look at that. Look at her skin. Don't her parents look like Tarzan's parents?
And get this, tryouts are tomorrow after school. What luck, right?
Hockey.
Uh-oh, what do we do?
Guys, here, you pretend to be Joy.
Won't it be great to be back out on the ice?
Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Did you guys pick up on that?
Pausing. What is striking is that Mom's leader is sadness. And now that we know there's an Inside Out 2, where are all the other emotions, huh? Are they in the back? Pull the curtain. Pay no mind. And then we're going to see the dad's brain is run by anger, which says a lot about society. The way that we treat boys kind of propels them to become the men that they are. When I was in college, I was doing service trips, and one of them was the issue of domestic violence, but from the perspective of those who batter. I learned that specifically for boys, How often does society tell boys to toughen up, man up? The only emotion that a boy is really recognized for having is anger and aggression. And we have to be really careful to teach boys that the reason you have these emotions is because you're supposed to use them. And the reason you have feelings is because you're supposed to feel them. To ignore them doesn't mean that they go away or that you're stronger for it. To not feel them means that they're going to come out in some other way, either as poor school performance, aggression towards other people, depression, anxiety, manifests itself in some capacity. Might as well let it be a feeling. Re-socialize men to be vulnerable and to talk about their feelings.
Well, that was a disaster.
I don't like this part.
Come, fly with me.
It's supposed to be comedic, but I find it kind of insulting that they're not working on their relationship together. Notice how joy jumped with the core memories as the priority and then reached back for sadness. And that is what happens to a lot of grown-ups. They let go of their goof.
Me? What'd I do? Forget it.
Wait, Joy, you could get lost in there.
Think positive.
Okay, I'm positive you will get lost in there. That's long-term memory. An endless learning.
Pause. I love this shot. Because what this is, everyone, is the brain! Yay! So what this is representing is the sulci and gyri of the brain. So the sulci is kind of the valley of the crevices of the brain and the folds of the brain, and the gyri are the mountaintops. The most top part of the brain is called the cortex. The neurons kind of stretch inward, and there's this huge interconnected network of cells doing all these neurotransmitting activities and chemical synapses to make everything happen in your body, from the automatic things to the things that you're in control of. It's fascinating.
And we've got this new girl on the team. She's so cool.
You like to read minds, Meg? I got something for you to read here.
Let's just be copper. What's that?
I hear they have ferrets.
I gotta go.
What?
I gotta go.
And pause. What's kind of cool about modern day relationships for children is that they have the internet. I remember when I was little, I had my best friend Benjamin, and we were so close, and we would hang out at each other's places. We did sports, we played video games, and then one day I just found out that he was leaving to Australia, and I was so shocked. And I didn't understand what that would mean, and I went and bought him a little Game Boy game for him to take with him. And I still remember, like, I woke up in the middle of the night, my dad woke me up and said, "Benjamin and his dad are here, you want to come say bye?" And then we just sat on the staircase together. I did not know it was going to hit me this hard. We sat on the staircase together, and I just looked at him and was like, "When are you coming back?" And he's like, "I don't know." And so I gave him the game, and he's like, "Thanks, man." And I gave him a hug, and I didn't know that was the last time I was going to hug him. And he left. And that was 4th grade, and it was so hard because I didn't know how I could get a new best friend. Now I always have to think like, oh, they have the internet. So I'm sure it's still challenging, but you could still remain in some form of communication. And I'm sure in the future it's going to be like,
Ooh, look at you.
Huh?
my favorite character. I actually made a video that was talking about what kind of doctor each of these emotions would be if they were your doctor. And of course, Joy's a pediatrician, but the one I picked for sadness, pretty funny. I'll link it down below for you to check out.
There is a station in Imagination Land. I know a shortcut. Come on, this way.
Oh, I'm so glad we ran into you.
Oh, this is one of the greatest scenes.
Hey, would you look at that?
Whoa. What's happening?
No, they turned it on.
Never seen this before.
What is going on?
We're abstracting. There are 4 stages. This is the first. Non-objective fragmentation.
These are actually the actual stages of abstract thought. Children between the ages of 7 and 11 start to develop the concept of abstract thought, but they can't really call upon it until the age of like 12 and adolescence. Of course, it's different for every child, but you can think of abstract thought the same way you think about reading. Initially, children are learning to read, then they eventually read to learn. Initially, they're learning to think, and then they think to learn. Hypothetical situations, reason through emotions that they have without having to live them out. And the way that they portrayed it here was so creative. I mean, kids at this part are probably not going to engage with the script. The animators went that far to do the research to then think about converting it into something that's accessible for all of us.
Is there really another station?
Uh-huh. Through there.
And that's Joy's first time depending on sadness.
Who the heck is that?
Imaginary boyfriend.
I would die for Riley.
I would die for Riley. One of the signs of depression is not finding interest in things that used to bring you joy. If you are so sad and so affected by either your circumstances or chemically and you are in a state of depression, the question then is, how much is it impacting your social life, your normal activities, even the things you used to enjoy you don't find enjoyable anymore. And Riley's in that stage right now. She's finding it difficult to enjoy the things that she used to like. Her normal activities are being impeded and impacted by her state of mind. She is having difficulty at school concentrating because she's crying. She is finding herself more tearful, more irritable, more frustrated. She is having difficulty sleeping, and she's having restless sleep with the nightmares. I don't really know if we've seen any issues with eating, really, but sometimes you can eat too much, eat too little, given the mental health epidemic that we're having. Very multifactorial. COVID, social media, bullying, cyberbullying, substance use. Our teenagers are really being attacked by many forces.
No, these facts and opinions look so similar.
Don't worry about it. Happens all the time. Wonder what that means. Well, let's go in.
And Bing Bong can't read because he was from an age in Riley's life when she didn't know how to read yet. Wow, that consistency is chef's kiss. There are different layers of sleep and stages of sleep like we talked about. And if you don't process what happened during the day, it can live in your subconscious. And when you go to sleep, your brain will process what happened as you sleep in a dream or nightmare. So that's why I really encourage you and your children, and to have a conversation with them and the people around you. Try not to sleep without meditating or praying or talking to someone and getting stuff off your chest. Venting is so important. You can continue to bottle things up, but a bottle has a limit. And sometimes the pressure gets so big that eventually it explodes. And you don't know when you're going to explode. Family dinners are a perfect opportunity for that. It's so sad that family dinners are being lost to screen time. The good news is that research shows that those meals are pillars of support that they can depend on and lean on and come to you when they're going through challenging things. One very big thing is if you teach your kids good touch versus bad touch, but if they don't know if you're going to listen to them, if they did come and report something about bad touch or someone who made them feel uncomfortable, then why would they come and ever share anything with you? How do you spell love for a child? It's very easy. T-I-M-E. Love. And it's actually a preventive factor against adverse childhood experiences, which I've talked about so many times. It's one of my passion projects. You can check out the video. I'll link it down below. Counteract the effects of adverse childhood experiences with positive childhood experiences. And so many things on that list are being genuinely interested in that child's well-being.
Do you have the core memories?
Yeah.
Notice how she takes them first.
Run.
It's so interesting that when the emotions talk to each other, her interpretation and her visual expression is the different emotions. The music is delicious.
how she used to stick her tongue out when she was coloring.
And what we're about to see is her feelings processing her history like parents do.
I could listen to her stories all day. Bing Bong? Bing Bong!
You made it! Go! Go save Riley!
Take her to the moon for me. Okay?
I'll try. Bing Bong. I promise.
We're gonna pause it right here.
Here come the water slide.
Sacrifice is the deepest form of love. It's not until Joy gets to the top. It's almost as if we're in on the secret, that we see him jump out and we don't know why and we don't understand what's happening. And so we're kind of caught in the middle. But he's so happy, which is the added element on top of it all, because he cares about Riley so much. He loves Riley so much that it's okay if he's gone forever. And why this movie is so powerful is because of this scene. If they had not included this scene, I don't think it would have had the same impact. Here the stakes are so high, but there was a true consequence that we can all take home with us. That Bing Bong is gone. But he lives on in our hearts. It's so strange to just get sad about that, but he's a symbol of all the sacrifices that people have poured into our lives. And I ask you, who are you a Bing Bong for, that you work behind the scenes without them knowing, to just uplift their life, to make their days a bit brighter? I think we can all challenge ourselves to be the Bing Bong in others' lives. Oh, everyone's alive at the end. Or if they bring him back in Inside Out 2, I really hope that they don't, because the consequence here, his sacrifice is a wave and it drowns you in this emotion of sadness, grief, and gratitude. And one thing that protects children is to have, again, a non-parent grown-up who is genuinely interested in their well-being, to have two of them. And Riley has Joy and Bing Bong. So this was just a beautiful masterpiece of a scene. It was this scene that made me realize I want to become a doctor who used movies to teach, because I learned so much from this. Dude, I want some fries. Girl, just float to the headquarters on your sad cloud.
Of course your tiny brain is confused.
These emotions have brains?
Oh, my goodness, you're back!
I love how they pulled joy in first instead of sadness. And of course, it's nighttime. Only bad things happen at night.
Riley! Oh,
goodness.
we were worried sick. Where have you been? It's so late.
It's okay for these happy memories to become sad, because they don't have the same context anymore, because we're growing up. And growing up hurts sometimes, but you get to make new memories.
I miss home. I miss Minnesota. You need me to be happy, but I want my old friends and my hockey team. Please don't be mad.
They realized the expectation they put on her, but they gave her space to talk.
I miss Minnesota too. I miss the woods when we took hikes.
Validating her feelings.
Backyard where you used to play.
Come here.
Because at the core, it's about family. And now there's blue and yellow in it. Wow. That breath. That was the whole movie. What? We can have complex emotions? Bittersweet? And now San Francisco is a part of it. How you spell love to a child? T-I-M-E. But I don't think no pizza broccoli gonna be a memory is all I'm going.
We still love our girl. Riley's 12 now. What could happen?
Puberty. Directed by Pete Doctor. I want to meet him so badly. Be like, hi, I'm Dr. Pete. He's like, hi, I'm Pete Doctor.
Doctor?
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 Oh, doctor.
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 Just a couple of doctors.
Doctor's in the hallway.
Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful, profound masterpiece of a movie. And for kids, if you're listening too, and this is for grown-ups too, your doctors are there for you too. If you're finding it difficult to feel the full spectrum of your emotions, talk about that with your doctor. Allow yourself to experience the full rainbow of emotions, because that's why you have them. Sometimes there are physiologic reasons, like the thyroid could be acting up. It could be nutrition based. So take this seriously. It's simple and sophisticated, and it's serious. So talk about it. Like we just did. I hope that you enjoyed this. I had such a serendipitous and splendid time doing this with you. I've wanted to do this for years, and I'm happy that I'm able to do it. I feel blessed that you spent this time with me. Please let me know what you thought about this. I want to hear what your thoughts are, as well as what videos and movies you want me to react to next. I'm thinking like Lion King or Big Hero 6, where we could talk about parental loss, sibling loss, how that affects the whole child. I'll link some more videos down below. I'm going to do a whole child development series, but for now, go be healthy. And as always, be safe, be strong, be swag. God bless you. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. I love you. Ciao. Bye. Triple dent, boom, 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 boom. I would die for